Good evening, class 10. So today we are starting our chapter number 2, which is polynomials. Okay, so now see here, in class 9 you have studied polynomials in one variable and their degrees. So if px is a polynomial in x, the highest power of x in px is called the degree of the polynomial. For example, see here, 4x plus 2 is a polynomial in the variable x, okay, of degree 1. So you can say here, this is a polynomial in variable x of a degree 1. Now see one more example. See here, 2y square minus 3y plus 4 is a polynomial in the variable y of degree 2. You can see here the power of y is 2. So the degree of this polynomial is 2. Okay. Now one more example, and that is 5x cube minus 4x square plus x minus root 2. This is a polynomial in the variable x of degree 3. Okay, so here you can see the degree of this polynomial is 3. Okay, you can also say 5x cube. Now see this example again, 7u raised to the power 6 minus 3 upon 2 u raised to the power 4 plus 4u square plus 4u square plus u minus 8 is a polynomial in the variable u of degree 6. Okay, now we will now you can see some more example which are not polynomial, like this, 1 upon x minus 1 and root x plus 2 comma 1 upon x square plus 2x plus 3 etc. They are not polynomials. So now see, a polynomial of a degree 1 is called a linear polynomial. So we can say that a polynomial of a degree 1 is called a linear polynomial. For example, 2x minus 3 root 3x plus 5 y plus root 2 x minus 2 upon 11 3z plus 4 2 upon 3 u plus 1 etc. are all linear polynomials. Okay, so polynomials such as 2x plus 5 minus x square, x cube plus 1 etc. are not linear polynomials because they have a degree more than 1. Okay, so these are not a linear polynomials. Linear polynomial are the polynomial which have only 1 degree. Okay, so see here in this example, their degree is 1. Okay, now quadratic polynomial. What are quadratic polynomials? See here, a polynomial of degree 2 is called a quadratic polynomial. The name quadratic has been derived from the word quadrate, okay, which means square. Okay, so see here, 2x square plus 3x minus 2 upon 5. These are the examples of quadratic polynomial. Okay, quadratic polynomial which have degree 2. Okay, so y square minus 2 minus x square plus root 3x u upon 3 minus 2u square plus 5 root 5u square minus 2 upon 3u 4z square plus 1 upon 7 are some examples of a quadratic polynomials whose coefficients are real numbers. Okay, their coefficients are real numbers. More generally, any quadratic polynomial in x is of the form ax square plus bx plus c. So we can say quadratic polynomial in X is of the form ax square plus bx plus c, where a comma b comma c are real numbers and a is not equals to 0. A polynomial of degree 3 is called a cubic polynomial. Okay, so now next is a cubic polynomial having degree 3. Okay, that is a cubic polynomial. Now see some example of a cubic polynomial are 2 minus x cube root 2, x cube 3 minus x square plus x cube 3x cube minus 2x square plus x minus 1. Okay, in fact the most general form of a cubic polynomial is ax cube plus bx square plus cx plus d. This is a most general form of a cubic polynomial. Okay, where a comma b comma c comma d are real numbers and a is not equals to 0. Okay, now consider the polynomial px is equals to x square minus 3x minus 4. Now we consider this polynomial, then putting x is equals to 2 in the polynomial, we get, when we will put the value of x in this equation as 2, so we will get minus 6 here. Okay, so the value minus 6 obtained by replacing x by 2 in x square minus 3x minus 4. The value of x square minus 3x minus 4 at x is equals to 2 similarly. Okay, so now when you put 0 in place of x, the value of px at x is equals to 0, which is minus 4, then you will get minus 4. When in this equation, let us consider this as equation number 1. When you will put the value minus 0 in place of x, then you will get minus 4 here. So if px is a polynomial in x, so now if we can say that if px is a polynomial in x and if k is any real number, then the value obtained by replacing x by k in px is called the value of px at x is equals to k. Okay, this is a basic definition, you can learn it as it is. Okay, and is denoted by pk. What is the value of px at x is equals to minus 1, and the value of px is given x square minus 3x minus 4. Now what you will do, you will put the value of x in this equation, so you will get the value of px as 0. Okay, now you will put replace x by 4, then you will get 0. Okay, so now you can see here, when you will put the value of x as 4, you will get 0. Also you will get 0 when you will put the value of x minus 1. Okay, you can put these values in this equation and then you will get 0 0. So as p at minus 1 is equals to 0, also p at 4 is equals to 0, then we can say that minus 1 and 4 are called the zeros of the quadratic polynomial x square minus 3x minus 4. When you will put minus 1 in place of x and when you will put 4 in place of x in this equation, you are getting 0. Okay, so we can say minus 1 and minus 4 are the zeros of this quadratic polynomial. Okay, so these are the zeros of the quadratic polynomial. More generally, a real number k is said to be a zero of a polynomial px if pk is equals to 0. Okay, so you can learn this definition like this way. Now you have already studied in class 9 how to find the zeros of a linear polynomial. For example, if k is a zero of px which is equals to 2x plus 3, then pk is equals to 0. So it gives us 2k plus 3 is equals to 0. Then from here in this equation you can find the value of k as minus 3 upon 2. So in general, if k is a 0 of px which is equals to ax plus b, then pk is equals to ak plus b. Okay, and ak plus b is equals to 0. So from here you can find the value of k as minus b upon a. So here now you will get, so the 0 of the linear polynomial ax plus b is equals to minus b upon a. So what is minus b? Minus b is a constant term upon coefficient of x which is equals to a. Thus we can say that the 0 of a linear polynomial is related to its sufficient to its coefficients. Does this happen in this case of other polynomial too? For example, are the zeros of a quadratic polynomials also related to its coefficients? So in this chapter we will try to answer these questions. We will also study the division algorithm of a polynomials. So now we will do exercise 2.1 of this chapter, which is the first exercise of a chapter 2, polynomials. Now we will understand the geometrical meaning of a zeros. Okay, so see here, core concept behind geometrical meaning of the zeros of a polynomial. For any given polynomial y is equals to px, a real number k is a 0 of px if and only if pk is equals to 0. Okay, this is a simple definition. Geometrically, the zeros of a polynomials px correspond to the x coordinate of the points where the graph of y is equals to px intersect or touches the x-axis. So its definition or formula will become number of zeros of px will be equals to total number of points where the graph intersect touches the x-axis. Okay, so this is the formula, also you will learn it. Now we will solve it with taking questions. So question number 1 of your exercise 2.1 is given here, and what it says, see here, the graph of a y is equals to px are given below for some polynomials px. Find the number of zeros of px in each case. Okay, you need to find out the number of zeros of px in each case. You are given here 6 parts, so we will find out the zeros of a px in this question. So now first of all, see the first part. So in first part you can see here, this is a parallel line. Okay, line parallel to x-axis. This is your parallel line which is parallel to x-axis, and this is your x-axis. So we will observe here, the given graph is a straight horizontal line parallel to the x-axis. So here number of zeros will be 0. The line does not cut, intersect or touch the x-axis. ये x-axis को ना तो टच कर रही है और ना ही कट कर रही है at any point. Okay, किसी भी पॉइंट पर, or touch the x-axis at any point, it stays strictly above the x-axis. ये टोटली एक्स एक्सिस के अबव है, देयरफॉर नंबर ऑफ zeros in first part will be equals to 0. Okay, now move on to part number 2 of this. So in part number 2 you can see here the line intersect x-axis at point here. Okay, at one point, so the number of zeros in this part is 1. Observation, see here, the given curve crosses the y-axis and cuts the x-axis. y-axis को यहाँ पर ये क्रॉस कर रहा है, देखिएगा, एंड इट कट्स द x-axis, और x-axis को ये यहाँ पर कट कर रहा है जहाँ पर मैंने सर्कल बनाया है, एट वन पॉइंट ऑन द पॉजिटिव साइड, और ये पॉजिटिव साइड है उसकी. सो यहाँ पर रीजनिंग है आपकी, द ग्राफ इंटरसेक्ट द एक्स एक्सिस एट एग्जैक्टली वन पॉइंट. ओके, एक पॉइंट पर ये उसको इंटरसेक्ट करेगा. सो द नंबर ऑफ ज़ीरोज़ इन पार्ट 2 विल बी 1. नाउ मूव ऑन टू नेक्स्ट पार्ट, which is part number 3. So in part number 3 you can see that an S-shaped cubic curve winding through the coordinate axis. ये देखिए S के टाइप का ये बना रहा है कर्व, क्यूबिक कर्व, और ये आपको 3 पॉइंट पर इंटरसेक्ट करता है. द ग्राफ क्रॉसेस द एक्स एक्सिस एट 3 डिस्टिंक्ट लोकेशन. 3 डिस्टिंक्ट लोकेशन पर ये कट करता है. वन ऑन द नेगेटिव एक्स एक्सिस, ये आपका नेगेटिव एक्स एक्सिस हो गया, एंड सेकेंड इज़ एट ओरिजिन, ये आपका सेकेंड ओरिजिन पर हो गया, एंड वन ऑफ द पॉजिटिव एक्स एक्सिस, और एक पॉजिटिव एक्स एक्सिस पर ये कट करता है. सो आपके नंबर ऑफ ज़ीरोज़ हो जाएंगे 3. सो यू कैन डू these question in this way. You will also write observation or reasoning which is given below the graph, so it will also increase your knowledge. You can do this question from this PDF. I will also share you PDF. Now see question number 4, part number 4 here. So observation, a parabola opening upward. इस तरह की फिगर आपकी जो होती है ये आपकी पैराबोला कहलाती है. यू विल स्टडी दिस इन क्लास 12th. ओके, ये अपवर्ड पैराबोला कहलाता है आपका. द पैराबोलिक कर्व कट्स द एक्स एक्सिस, ये एक्स एक्सिस को कट करता है एट एग्जैक्टली 2 पॉइंट्स. 2 पॉइंट्स पर कट करता है, एक तो यहाँ पर और दूसरा यहाँ पर. 1 नेगेटिव एंड 1 पॉजिटिव. ये वाली साइड आपकी नेगेटिव है और ये आपकी पॉजिटिव. इसमें आपकी साइड आप ऐसे ध्यान रखना, ये आपकी प्लस प्लस होती है, ये आपकी प्लस माइनस होती है, और ये माइनस माइनस, और ये आपका होता है प्लस माइनस. सो इस तरह से ये फर्स्ट क्वाड्रेंट, सेकंड क्वाड्रेंट, थर्ड क्वाड्रेंट और फोर्थ क्वाड्रेंट में आपके आते हैं पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव सिंबल्स. सो इस वाले पार्ट में आपका पार्ट 4 में नंबर ऑफ ज़ीरोज़ हो जाएंगे 2. ओके, नाउ मूव ऑन टू नेक्स्ट पार्ट, पार्ट नंबर 5. सी हियर पार्ट नंबर 5. अ वेव लाइक कंटिन्यूस पोलिनोमियल कर्व. ये एक वेव जैसे चलती है ना, इस तरह से कंटिन्यूस पोलिनोमियल कर्व है जो कि ग्राफ को क्रॉसेस, द ग्राफ क्रॉसेस द एक्स एक्सिस एट 4 डिस्टिंक्ट पॉइंट इन टोटल, और जो कि 4 डिस्टिंक्ट पॉइंट पर एक्स एक्सिस को टच कर रहा है. वो ये हैं आपके 1 2 3 4. सो आपके नंबर ऑफ ज़ीरोज़ हो जाएंगे 4. सी सेम वे you can also see here intersect x axis at 4 points. Now in part 6, a curve crossing the x axis at one point and turning around right on the x axis at 2 other points. Okay, a curve crossing the x axis at one point, ये यहाँ पर इसको टच कर रहा है नेगेटिव साइड में, and turning around right on the एक्स एक्सिस एट अदर 2 पॉइंट्स। उसके बाद में एक ये ओरिजिन पर टच करता है और ये दूसरा पॉइंट ये रहा जहाँ पर ये टच करता है। रीजनिंग देखिए इसकी, टचिंग द एक्स एक्सिस काउंट एज अ रियल ज़ीरो, a repeated zero, total points of contact will be equals to 1 plus 2 equals to 3. So total number of zeros आपके हो जाएंगे 3, 1 पॉइंट आपका ये, सेकंड ये और थर्ड ये, टोटल नंबर ऑफ zeros आपके 3 हो जाएंगे। ओके, now quick solution summary here. I will share you this PDF. You can write and do this question from this PDF. So first part, horizontal line parallel to x-axis 0 point. Second part, cubic like single crossing curve 1 point. Third part, S-shaped 3 intersection curve 3 points, so number of zeros 3. Part 4, upward parabola 2 points, so number of zeros 2. Fifth part, W-shaped 4 intersection curve 4 points, so number of zeros 4. And sixth part, curve with 1 crossing and 2 touch points 3 points, so number of zeros will be equals to 3. So in the end, key exam tip for CBSE Board Exam: always pay attention to whether the question is state y is equals to px or x is equals to py. Okay, you need to pay attention in this equation, these two equation. For y is equals to px, if you are given y is equals to px, then count the points of intersection on the x axis. Okay, तब तो आपको x एक्सिस पर काउंट करने हैं। और इफ़ द क्वेश्चन इज गिवन एज x इज इक्वल्स टू पी वाई, देन यू मस्ट काउंट द पॉइंट्स ऑफ इंटरसेक्शन ऑन द y एक्सिस इंस्टेड। ओके, सो आपको ये ध्यान रखना है, अगर आपको x इज इक्वल्स टू पी वाई गिवन होगा तब आप y एक्सिस पर पॉइंट काउंट्स करेंगे, और अगर आपको y इज इक्वल्स टू पी एक्स दिया होगा तब आप x एक्सिस पर काउंट करेंगे। इस क्वेश्चन के अंदर आपको क्या दिया हुआ था, ये देखिए, इस क्वेश्चन के अंदर आपको y इज इक्वल्स टू पी एक्स दिया हुआ था यहाँ पर। सो आपने x एक्सिस पर पॉइंट काउंट किए, और अगर आपको यहाँ पर x इज इक्वल्स टू पी इंटू वाई गिवन होता तब आप ये पॉइंट काउंट करते y एक्सिस पर। ओके, सो ये आप ध्यान रखना एग्ज़ाम में। So now we have completed exercise 2.1. So tomorrow we will do the next exercise. So if you still have any problem in any question, you can comment below. And that is it from my side for today, and thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.